We are live. We are live. So here we are at the next episode of The Real God is Not in the Bible. I know, shocking, right? The Bible is not about God at all. The Bible is not a religious book or a holy book or a sacred book, even though I love the Bible. I absolutely love the Bible. I love the Bible so much that I wanted to find out exactly what it was saying and exactly what it's talking about. And to my shock and surprise, it wasn't about God. So in this episode, we are diving deeper into, did Jesus die on the cross? We're exploring 10 anomalies with regard to Jesus and his death on the cross. This is a continuation of last week's conversation. How you loving, how you loving, how you loving. If you're brand new to the channel, either the Valerie Love YouTube channel or the Christian Witches YouTube channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. How you loving? That's what we like to say around here. And we are all about magic, witchcraft, and especially for those who were in a Christian world, Christian experience, may still be in a Christian experience, or you're familiar with Christianity and you want to integrate it with your magic, right? And on the TikTok, we have a lot of deconstructing Christians, deconverting Christians. Yes, we're live. Hey, Fred, how you loving? How you loving? Come on in, come on in, come on in. We are live every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, last Wednesday, we didn't have a live. We had an upload and it went live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time because I wanted to make sure the quality was good because this is so important what we're talking about. And I'm with family and sometimes we're running around Miami, sometimes we're out to dinner, sometimes, you know, life be lifing. So I recorded last week in advance and put it up for us at 7 p.m. last Wednesday. So here we are. We are live. How you loving? How you loving? How you loving? Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. So we're talking about 10 anomalies with regard to Jesus Christ and his resurrection. Did Jesus actually bodily or spiritually resurrect from the dead? Did he actually die on the cross? These are questions, and these are really good questions because the answers to these questions will shake the foundations of Christianity. Because Christianity is built on a set of tenets. And part of the dogma, hey, peace family, peace to the family, come on in. Share, smash up the likes, subscribe, all of the things. Part of the dogma, the doctrine of the Christian faith is that we were born in original sin. Now, I do not subscribe to original sin. I know in my beingness that everyone is a divine being, everyone is infinite, and everyone has the spark of the divine within. So I do not adhere to the doctrine of original sin. Now, of course, it's up to each person, it's up to you and to each person to determine what you will stake your life on. Yes. How are you going to conduct yourself in your life? What spiritual tools, or will you be an atheist, or will you be an agnostic, or will you be um, African traditional religions, magic, chaos magician, Christian witch, Christian mystic? All of it. We've seen all of it here in this community, and you get to choose. So I am here not to tell anyone what to think. No, I'm figuring it out for myself. I'm here to spark inspiration for us to do deep dive into the text, into history, biology, archaeology, and look at our ancient origins and understand our true divine nature. Okay? Let's get it popping. Let's get into it, as they say on YouTube, right? Let's get into it. Thumbs up. Okay, let's get into it. So we're going to hop on screen share because you know I prepared for you. I prepared for you because I like to get my receipts in order. So I love preparing for you, family. I love it. Hey, Aurora Day, how you loving? Rose, I made it to your last live, to your live. Yes, Rose, you made it to the live. Yay! Come on in, family. Come on in. Okay, so we're going to go on screen share. Hold on. Boom. Jesus and the cross. So let's jump right into our 10 considerations. Now, we did 5 last week. So if you are new, if this is brand new, go all the way back to the beginning of these series and start with episode 1. This is part 17. I don't know how long it's going to go. I got a lot to say about this. So start at 1. And even if you don't start at 1, for this conversation, if you really want to dive into Jesus and the cross, and did he really die on the cross, or what happened? Then go to last week's conversation, which is episode 16. This is part 17. Go to part 16 and get the first half. And now we're going to do the second half of Jesus and the cross, because there's a lot I wanted to share with us about Jesus and the cross. Here are the 10 considerations. 5 we did last week. 5 we'll do tonight. So we did 1 through 5 last week. We're doing 6 through 10 tonight. We will review the 5 that we did last week. 1, Joseph of Arimathea's request of Pontius Pilate and the response. We all know the story that after Jesus died, after they hung him on the cross, not after he died. And that's the whole point of this conversation. Did he actually die on the cross? There is a debate about that. Well, and I'll tell you my conclusion at the end. So stay all the way to the end so you can get all the goods, okay? You can see the entire argument, then you get to make up your own mind. We know that Joseph of Arimathea asked Pontius Pilate for Jesus' body, according to some of our ancient sources, right? And Pontius said, he's dead already, which is a clue. He's dead already. You see, these little tiny factoids, these little tiny pieces of information are clues. Yeah, he's dead already. Okay, take him down. And before, in some versions of the story, before they took him down, of course, we know they came with a spear. The Roman soldier came with a spear, jabbed him in the side, water and blood flowed out, which would indicate that he was dead. Okay, so they took him down off the cross pretty soon after he had died. And what do I mean by pretty soon? Well, last week we talked about the fact that some people could hang on the cross for 3 days before they died. And Jesus, according to the story, was on there for 6 hours, possibly less than 6 hours, which is a very short period of time because the Romans had perfected crucifixion to be excruciatingly painful and to be a torture device and to last as long as possible. They didn't want to give people a quick, chop your head off and die, because they used it as a preventative device to prevent uprisings, right? Okay, so after that, so he takes the body. Now, remember, we're looking at the Bible not so much as if it is a spiritual book. We are looking at the Bible as if it is literature, according to Professor Joel Baden, who teaches at Yale Divinity School. He said the Bible is literature. No one who was writing the Bible thought they were writing a Bible. So let's just look at it as literature. Let's just look at it as stories that have deeper meaning. Let's look at it for what it is. We've been told it's from God. It's the truth. How about we shelve that for a moment? We can always pick that back up again. We can always pick up our religious sensibilities again later. How about for this purposes of this conversation, we just look at the Bible at face value and look at it as if it is a book. This is a book. This is a book of literature from multiple different sources, written over many centuries by many different people in many different places, and we don't even know who they are, other than maybe Paul. We know Paul, what he wrote. Possibly, right? Scholars say that of the 13 books attributed to Paul, he only actually wrote 7. Other than that, we don't know who wrote all these books of the Bible. So let's look at it from our critical lens, not saying that we're being critical of the Bible, saying that we are looking at it simply from the perspective of this is not a book from God. Now, we can always go back to this is a book from God later. For right now, that's how we're looking at it. So, number two is we have an empty tomb. Different versions of the empty tomb story. One version says that the women went and saw a man in there, and the man said, he's not here. Another version says they went and saw two men in there, one at the head, one at the foot. They look like angels. He's not here. Another version said Mary was walking in the garden and she looked in the tomb. The tomb was empty and she saw a man. Either way, we have an empty tomb. No body. There's no body. Where is the body of Jesus? They still can't answer that to this day. No one can answer that question. If Jesus was a true historical figure, which I do believe he was, there are debates on both sides. I'm not in the mythicist camp that he didn't exist. I do sense, no, probably yes, that he did exist. And he actually was crucified. I don't think he died on the cross. I do think they hung him on a cross. And he was scooped up before he died and stolen away. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. Now, the third one is that women see him after his death. So the women see him, and supposedly, let's look at this critically. If an apostle is one who goes and tells others about the gospel with the intention to help them convert to the gospel or to understand the resurrection of Jesus Christ, then the first apostle is Mary Magdalene, hands down. Why? Because Mary Magdalene in the scriptures was the first one to see him after the crucifixion. And she said, hell, he ain't dead. So therefore, that would make her the first apostle. Yet we know that they, went with Peter, and the Catholic Church went with Peter. Some others went with James. And of course, there was a group that followed Mary Magdalene. Anyway, the women see him after his death. The disciples see him after his death. There are many sightings of people, different stories from different sources, saying they saw this man after he was crucified. And on one of those occasions, he still has ascertainable wounds. They still see the wounds on his hand or on his side. Is he a zombie? I don't think so. I don't think he died on the cross. I know that would be shocking. And that would be pretty horrific for the Christian religion. Yet I'm not here to perpetuate religious institutions. I'm here to understand what is the Bible saying, to do deep dive research in it, to not throw out theories because they sound ludicrous. I want to explore and I want to find out what happened, what really happened. Okay, so those are our first five. We talked about those in detail last week, like I mentioned. And so if you haven't seen that, go see that, because that will set up this one. Here we go. Now, order the book. This series is in a book. The Real God is not in the Bible. How religion and superstition blinded humanity to the truth for thousands of years. It is available right now for pre-order. I'm going to drop this link in the chat. This is ValerieLove.com/books. And I am going to drop a link in the chat right now to pick up the book, because in the weeks coming up, as we go through these, we are going to be referencing the book. Okay, we're going to be referencing the book. So I'm going to drop it. Super chat, Galvin. Money in the vortex. Woo, 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 woo. Gracias. How you loving? Oh, Adora said, I got to make a fresh cup of coffee for this one. Come on, Adora. You know how we do. Okay. Josie says, using crucifixion and religion to keep people down. That's exactly what is happening. Hey, Val, good to see you. EXO, Calvin, Money in a Vortex. Thank you, Calvin, for all your incredible super chats and all your super thanks. You are such an incredible supporter of the channel and this work. I love it. I love it. He didn't die on the cross. It was Judas. That is another one that we're going to get into. That's a good one right there. That's a good one because that is exactly what one of the theories out of Islam says. So we're going to get to that at number 10. I love it. You're jumping ahead. I love that. I love that. Okay, let's go back on screen share and we're going to continue. So that's the link. Oh, did I send it? This is the link to pre-order the book. If you would be so kind, pre-order the book. It's only $9.99. It comes out on 11/11 of 2024. If you're watching this after 2024, the price is going up to 11/11. The price will be rising to 11/11. Right now it's in pre-order and you can buy it directly from myself, the ebook, or you can buy it on Amazon. Okay, Soul Whisperer. Oh my goodness, I haven't seen you in forever. How you love it? How you loving? How you loving? How you loving? I'm going to get it to support you. Oh, that is so beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so many people have bought the book. I just love it, and they're buying it on pre-order. If you buy it from me, that's wonderful. If you buy it from Amazon, that's wonderful too. We love it either way. And get your ticket to the book launch party because people have started to register for the book launch party. We're going to be together on a Zoom, deep diving into these things together in discussion format on 11/11. That's going to be amazing. It's virtual, so you can come on. All right, let's go back on screen share. That was our commercial break right there. Get the book, get the book, get the book. Okay, that's it. Get the book, get the book, get the book. Okay, now that's where you can order a book. I do want to let you know that if you are a member on the Valerie Love YouTube channel, if you are a member on the Christian Witches YouTube channel, and if you are a member on the Christian Witches Substack, you receive a gift ebook copy. So thank you to all our members. We love you, members. We love you. We love you. We love you. If you're a member, your copy is coming to you on 11/11. Okay. Okay. Let's get to these next 5. Number 6. Did the Transfiguration, put this in the chat, please tell me, were you ever, what's the word? Were you ever baffled? I was baffled. Were you ever baffled by the Transfiguration? I asked so many questions in religion about the Transfiguration. No one could answer it. Why was it Moses and Elijah? Why? I was lost. We know the story of the Transfiguration. We're going to go into the details in a second. That's number 6. Number 7, his mother being a virgin and the pronouncement of the Angel Gabriel of the birth of Jesus. That's suspicious. I'll tell you why in a moment. Number 8, other sources, including the Quran. The Quran, the Holy Quran says Jesus did not die on the cross. Number 9, the questionable paternity of Jesus. Yes, let's go into Jesus' daddy. Mary, who was your baby daddy? Mary, who was your baby daddy? We need to know, Mary. Number 10, theories of Jesus surviving the crucifixion. We're not the first people to ask, where's the body? Let's get scientific. Let's get down to history. Where's the body? Where's the body? Where's the body? Okay. All right. Now, Jesus and the cross. We already did this part, so we're going to skip to, we already did 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 last week. Now, this week, number 6, the Transfiguration with Moses and Elijah. Oh my goodness. Spoken of in Matthew 17, 1 through 9, Mark 9, 2 through 8, and Luke 9, 28 to 36. Moses and Elijah were both intricately connected with the Elohim. Let's come off screen share for this for 1 second. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What have we discussed about Moses speaking with Yahweh? It's a later iteration, right? Speaking with Yahweh on the side of the mountain. Let me see your glory. We already know the word glory. That is an inaccurate mistranslation. Let me see your glory. It's let me see your kavod. Kavod. What is a kavod? A kavod means a big heavy thing. A kavod means a vessel. a metal spaceship that could possibly mean armament, something that is dangerous. Where do I get this information from? Mauro Bellino, who worked with the Vatican to give an accurate transliteration of the Hebrew Bible into Italian. And that's exactly right. It's a spaceship. That's exactly right, Soul Whisperer. And it makes sense in the context. Why does it make sense in the context? Because in the context, Yahweh, once again, that word was added later. Yahweh is a very late iteration. We're going way before Yahweh, where we're going back hundreds of thousands of years when these stories were first written, because Genesis was based on earlier tales, right? Earlier mythologies, going all the way back to the Sumerian cuneiform tablets. Okay, it goes way back, goes back hundreds of thousands of years. Now, how do we know that kavod does not mean glory? How do we know that? Calvin says, I thought transfiguration means to make more beautiful. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. How do we know that kavod? We'll talk about that, Calvin, what the transfiguration means. How do we know that kavod, the word that is mistranslated in our modern day Bibles as glory, actually means in the original Hebrew a metal object? It actually means something physical. And we can tell when we listen to the conversation. Moses says, Jehovah, Yahweh, the name plastered over this old story. It's a very old story, but the the version we have is they plastered Yahweh's name in there. Okay, that's the version we have. Yahweh is telling Moses to go invade these nations, the surrounding territories, let's call it. And he says, I'll be with you, and you're going to go and you're going to advance. We know the whole thing in the Bible that they were supposed to go and rout out the Jebusites and the Canaanites and the Issaites and this ites and that ites and that ites. They were supposed to go and rout out all of those other neighboring nations and tribes from the promised land and inherit the promised land. And Moses asked Yahweh, let me see your kavod. Who asked God, let me see your glory? I never thought that made sense. Why did Moses, you're talking to God. Supposedly, that's the way they gave the story to us. You're talking to God on the side of a mountain. You're talking to God. And then you say, I know I'm talking to you, God, but can you show me your glory? Doesn't make sense. He's talking to God, and God is telling him we're going to have a war, because Yahweh was a warring somebody. And there is a book referred to in antiquity that we have not found yet. Maybe they'll pull it out of the ground at some point coming up. I hope they do, called the Book of the Wars of Yahweh. He has a book full of his wars. This is a warring personage. Okay? So he says, well, I don't know if we're going to be able to go and route out all this. Can you show me your backup? Can you show me your kavod? And what does Yahweh, what does God, if we think this is God, let's think about this. What does God say to Moses? God says, well, I can show you my glory, but come back tomorrow. Come back tomorrow. You don't have your glory on you right now, God. Come back tomorrow and make sure there are no animals on the side of the mountain. And you can't see my glory because no one can see my glory and live. But if you stand in the cut in the mountain, I'm going to let my glory pass by. This all sounds very physical. This all sounds very physical. It is a spaceship. You are going to show Moses the spaceship tomorrow. Come back tomorrow, same back time, same back channel, and you will see this spaceship. And stand back in the cut because it has radiation and da-da-da-da-da. They made all these stories spiritual later on. These are Elohim stories. And it seems to me now that I have uncovered a lot of this, it seems to me now that it's so obvious. It's in plain sight. To me. Doesn't mean it has to be obvious to you or to anyone else. To me, it solves mystery after mystery. So now we have Jesus, once again, on the top of the mountain. Jesus on the side of the mountain. Who does he take with him? Peter, James, and John. Here they are standing on the top of a mountain. And here they say a word used to mystify. Okay, Soul Whisperer, let's see what Soul Whisperer said. Glory, a word used to mystify or make magical because God is so unknown to us. Glory sounds supernatural, magical, and mysterious. Absolutely. We don't even know what glory is. What does glory mean? Is that your countenance? Is that your imminence? Is that your light? Is that your blessing? Is that your, it's so nebulous. Yet, what I hear from all of the Hebrew scholars of the Bible is that the original Hebrew that this was written in is not a metaphysical language. It's a language that's very practical and very concrete. It's talking about actual objects and things. So later on, they turned it into, we don't know what a kavod is. Glory. And yet, every time when you see the word kavod in the Hebrew Bible, it's acting like a spaceship. The God's glory came from the east. Wait a minute, I thought God's glory was everywhere. God's glory lifted up from that place and they saw it rise to the heavens. Wait a minute, God's glory lifted up from that place. That sounds like a spaceship. Everything, every scripture, isn't it nebulous? Yes, every scripture that we look up that has the word kavod in it, substitute spaceship and see, does it make perfect sense? It makes perfect sense. A kavod coming out of the east, a kavod is lifting up. A kavod came in clouds and lightning and fire. The kavod had fire under it. The kavod was loud. The kavod shook the ground when it rose up. That sounds like a spaceship, not like nebulous glory. They just made it, what's a catch-all word that we can use that will describe all the things that this kavod is doing and that people won't ask any questions? Make it glory. But what is glory? All of that the kavod is doing, all of that is glory. And then when you read it, you're confused. This is why people don't want to read the Bible. They don't think the Bible has value because they're reading it and the stuff doesn't make sense. Why? A lot of it is because of the mistranslations. Mauro Bellino said he found 20 different Elohim in the Bible between El Elyon, El Shaddai, Elohim, El. Elohim is the plural of El. El Shaddai, translated in entire Bibles as Almighty. No. It means the El that is higher than the others. It's not Almighty. Oh, no. That's El Elyon. El Elyon is translated Most High. El Shaddai is translated Almighty. El Elyon, translated Most High, is not the Most High. El Elyon means the El that is above the other L's. That still is not the Most High. That still is not God. Okay, so let's go back to the Transfiguration. So here, Jesus has taken James, Peter, and John up to the top of a mountain. Same thing like Moses. They're on a mountain. They went to the top of the mountain. While they're up on the top of the mountain, what happens? The Transfiguration, Jesus all of a sudden starts to glow, like he's like bright. And they're like, wow. And then what does it say? It says, let's look it up. Let's read it straight from the Bible because it's very clear in the Bible. It is very clear in the Bible. And I don't see any room for question. It's very clear in the Bible. Let's look at it. Let's look right at it because we are detectives of this. Let's look at it. Okay. Matthew, let's look, Transfiguration. I have the scriptures listed in there. Transfiguration of Jesus, Matthew chapter 17. You see, I read it already. Here it is. After 6 days, Jesus took with him Peter, James, and John, the brother of Peter, James, and John, the brother of James, and led them up to a high mountain by themselves. There he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as the light. Just then appeared before them Moses and Elijah talking with Jesus. What? Wait a minute. Plot twist. You guys Jesus is just standing there. He brought James and John and Peter with him. And then all of a sudden, Moses and Elijah are just there. They just appear. Then there appeared what? Peter said, now this is something very curious that Peter is saying. Peter said, and in every one of the Gospels, the synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, are the synoptic Gospels. Sin and optic. Sin means synchronized. Optic means seeing. So they have the same way of seeing things. John is a whole nother thing. The Gospel of John. People think the four Gospels are saying the same thing. They are not. They're saying four very interesting things, different things. Anyway, that's going to be a conversation for another day. Look what Peter says. Peter said, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, I will put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. This isn't a vision. Should we get some tents and put one up for Moses? They're seeing Moses and Elijah. All of the Gospels say this. Matthew says it, Mark says it, Luke says it. They all say it. They all say that they saw, here it is, Matthew 17, 1 through 9, Mark 9, 2 through 8, and Luke 9, 28 through 36. They saw Moses and Elijah, and they both said, should we put up a tent for them? You don't put up a tent for a vision. You don't erect something for them to lay in or go to sleep in for bodies that don't appear to be real to you. It would be an inappropriate question if this was a vision. See, the Transfiguration never made sense to me. It made perfect sense to me in the cosmology of the Elohim, because they had Moses and Elijah with them. Let's go further. Why Moses and Elijah? This is doing this research was the first time I could get sense out of the Transfiguration. I'm telling you, I was in the Christian religion for 26 years. I could never find the answer to the Transfiguration. Couldn't figure it out. I just, some things you just cast off, you just put on the back burner because you just think you're never going to get an answer to that. Well, now I have an answer. Why? Because both Moses and Elijah disappeared. What am I talking about? Well, in Deuteronomy, you know how they say Moses wrote Genesis through Deuteronomy? Well, he didn't, obviously. Because in Deuteronomy 35, 5 through 6, it says, and Moses, his body was not found, and God buried him. And that's where he is to this day, but no one knows where he is. Once again, we have no body. The body of Moses was gone. There was no body ever recovered of Moses. Moses said, y'all go on now. Never found his body. Now, you could say, well, we don't even know if a real Moses really existed. Moses is like maybe a composite figure. We don't really know. Whoever this person is that was talking to the Elohim, because we do know that he represents someone. Whoever this person is, whether his name was Moses or not, whoever this person is that was having these conversations with the Elohim on the side of the mountain and going back and forth talking to the Elohim, whoever that is, that's who we're talking about. Maybe his name was Moses. Maybe it was something else. We will call him Moses because that's what the Bible calls him. Moses disappeared just like Elijah. Now, we already had a conversation in a previous episode about Elijah, Ezekiel, and Enoch. You see, the Elohim, also known as the Anunnaki, the Anunna gods, the Elohim had favorites. Enoch was one of their favorites. They would be like, come on, you're coming with us up there. Elijah was one of their favorites. Ezekiel was their favorites, and they would abduct them. I don't have a better word for it. Well, maybe not abduct, because maybe they went willingly, because Enoch was sort of like their scribe. And he would write things down for them, and he was sort of like a go-between. He would come back and forth, tell people things that they said, and so forth and so on. They liked Abraham too. They had favorites among the children of Adapa, which was Adam, right? Now, Moses. there is a very weird verse in Jude chapter 1, verse 9 about Moses. Now, I never understood this scripture, never did. Let's read it. Let's read it. Because Jude 1 9. Let's read it. Never understood the scripture. Look, people are asking, what does Jude 1 9 mean? It's strange. It's a strange verse. Look what it says. But when the archangel Michael, contending with the devil, was disputing about the body of Moses, what? He did not presume to pronounce a blasphemous judgment, but said, the Lord rebuke you. Okay, let's read another version. The NIV version says, but even the archangel Michael, when he was disputing with the devil about the body of Moses, what? Okay, but Michael, the archangel, when he disputed with the devil and argued about the body of Moses, why is Archangel Michael arguing with the devil about Moses' body? None of the scholars can tell you the answer to that. I think the answer to that is pretty obvious. Why? It's the Elohim. It is the Elohim. What do I mean by that? Remember, the Bible has gone through many iterations and many translations and many redactions and a whitewash many times to whitewash some of this out, yet it's still peeking out here and there. Well, we have discovered that all of the archangels' names end in El, which is telling us that they were also the Elohim. Archangel Gabriel. And we had a conversation in a previous episode that she was the El, Archangel Gabriel, also known as Ninhursag, also known as Ninma. This is all detailed in my book, was the governor of the Gannet Eden, the Garden of Eden. She was a chief geneticist, and I call her a reproduction specialist, also known as the mother of kings, also known as mother of the gods. This is the great mother. The great mother never left us. The great mother has always been with us. If you think that we don't have the great mother in all the religions, the great mother is in all the religions. You just have to look for her. This great mother was a reproduction specialist. And why does she continue to show up to virgin women and to women who are barren? It's a trope. Every time there's going to be a really powerful, incredible being born, he has to have a very important birth story. From Samson to Jesus to Moses, something happened with the mother. Either the mother was a virgin or the mother was barren. Jesus' grandmother was barren. Mary's mother, right? The saint Anna, she's a saint in the Catholic Church. I don't think Protestant people know anything about her. I never heard Baptist people or any of them talk about Anna at all. Mary's mother. They don't even really talk about Mary. They talk about Jesus is King, Jesus, the way, the truth, and the light. Where did he come from? Okay, so Moses' body, here we go. There was some kind of conversation going on among the Elohim over Moses' body when he eventually did die. And there's some places, some texts that say Moses' body was hidden because they didn't want anybody to revere him. And some texts say that Moses was taken, his death was unique, sort of like Elijah's ascension. Why this cloud of suspicion, doubt around Moses' body? We don't have the body, so it makes sense. Why? I'm going to tell you another part why it makes sense that Moses and Elijah were in the Transfiguration with Jesus. There's an apocryphal text called the Assumption of Moses. And it says the same thing, that Moses was taken up. He was assumed. He didn't kind of die. Something happened with his body. These are just conversations. This is what the AI said. The AI said the idea of a direct assumption into heaven, as in the case of Elijah, is a theme that appears in some of these writings. Other texts focus on the dispute between Michael and Satan over the body, hinting at spiritual significance beyond just Moses' physical remains. There is some cloud of question around Moses' body. And where was Moses taken? Was he just lifted up like Elijah, like Enoch, like Ezekiel? If we didn't have the other ones that were also being lifted up, it wouldn't be, I probably wouldn't think about it at all. Yet we have many of them that have been lifted up. All through the Bible, they're talking about they went up. And they're describing what they saw when they went up. Let's go further. The transfiguration with Moses and Elijah. Elijah was taken up, so that's Moses. Let's talk about Elijah. Elijah was taken up in a chariot in a whirlwind. Elijah and Elisha were walking along and talking when suddenly there appeared between them a flaming chariot pulled by fiery horses. At once a strong wind took Elijah up into heaven. Do you know a chariot that can lift a person up to heaven? Do you know a chariot that can levitate? Unless in the original text, it doesn't say chariot. It actually is a type of kavod or a cherubim, which is another word that they use for these spaceships. There's many words that they use. They had many different kinds of flying vehicles. If this sounds bizarre, we could go to India, because in the Indus Valley, which was Inanna's territory, they have many in the Upanishads, many references of flying saucers, flying vessels, many. And they're all through the Bible too, except it's been whitewashed and we don't know. So we've got to dig deep into the original Hebrew and the transliteration. So that's why Moses and Elijah both appeared there, because Jesus had some kind of connection with the Elohim. Moses and Elijah were not dead. Remember, when Enoch went up, was it Enoch? Which one was it? Was it Enoch? I think it was Enoch. Well, it's in another story. It's also in the Epic of Gilgamesh. But anyway, it said that when you go up there, don't drink the water that they're going to give you or eat the bread that they're going to give you, because they have an elixir of everlasting life. Maybe not everlasting life, but an elixir where you'll live a really long time. And you know that they were extremely advanced beings and they had extremely long life. So absolutely they were able to extend life for someone like Moses and Elijah. It wouldn't surprise me at all if the actual Moses and Elijah, actually for me, it would make perfect sense that the actual Moses and Elijah would be standing there with Jesus talking to him at the Transfiguration. That makes perfect sense to me. Both Moses and Elijah had mysterious, unique departures from earthly life. Put that in your pipe and smoke it and look at all 10 of these things that we're talking about. This is just one of them. Put all 10 together and something is up. Something's up. Okay, let's go further. Number 7, the birth story. Okay, so let's go back to our list. Okay, so we did our first 5 last week. We're in our next 6. So we talked about the transfiguration with Moses and Elijah, his mother being a virgin, and the pronouncement of the angel Gabriel of the birth of Jesus. We do know that there are no angels in the Bible. And when people hear me say that, they think I'm saying there are no angels. I'm not saying there are no angels. Be very clear about what I'm saying. The Bible's not a spiritual book. There are no angels in the Bible. These are Elohim stories. We've just got to be really clear that these Bible stories are preserving for us an ancient wisdom that is critical for us to understand about our origins. We are one family. This Bible is not talking about some favorite group of God that he loves more than other people. This Bible is not talking about a group of people that should have this promised land and kick everybody else out. It's not talking about that. This information has the power to stop all wars on planet Earth. If we were to understand truly our unique origins and our true divine nature, we would stop the shenanigans that we are right now engaging in and have been for thousands of years. We would know that Yahweh is not God. We would know that the covenant, no, there was no covenant with any group of people. No, those are Elohim stories. And the Elohim were not God, and they were not gods. They were advanced beings who came to visit some helpful, some not so much. So let's talk about the angel Gabriel, not an angel, and Elohim. Let's talk about that. Okay, so the angel Gabriel appears to Mary and tells her that she's going to conceive and bear a son, whose name is going to be Jesus. And Gabriel states that the child will be called Son of the Most High. Ding, 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 ding. Clues. We already said Most High does not mean God. Most High, translated from El Elyon, the L that's above the other L's, that's going to be this child's father. Mary said, well, how's it going to happen? Because I'm a virgin. She says, oh, don't worry. Now, this is where they spiritualized it. The Holy Spirit is going to come on you and it's going to give you, make you have a baby. Now, we do know that that's probably not what happened. She said, okay, I'll tell you what. I have some of the genetic material right here. We're going to insert it in you just like I'm telling you, Gabriel was a reproduction specialist. She helped Hannah have a baby. His name was Samson. She helped Anna have a baby. Hannah was Samson's mother. She helped Anna have a baby. That was Mary. Anna was barren. Saint Anna. She helped, who else? Elizabeth had the baby. She was barren. All of them. Gabriel visited them. And if you dig deep into Gabriel, this is all in the book. Deep into Gabriel. Who is Gabriel? Who is this person going around telling all these people that they're going to have a baby? This was Ninhursag. Also known as, many people call her a goddess, Ninhursag. Ninhursag, highly revered, highly loved, highly honored as the mother of humanity, because she was the geneticist working along with Enki, a reproduction specialist, and it was her birth mothers. There was 6 or 7 birth mothers. I'll check it out for you. Hold on. Let me get my family's here. Let me let them in. Hey. Hola. Hello. I'm on the street. Hi. Hey. How are you? Haven't seen you. No way. Oh, wonderful. How is Puerto Rico? Amazing. Okay. It was okay. Oh, you had to work. Oh my goodness. Ah. Okay, when we finish the live stream, we're gonna talk some more. Yes. Yay, my family's here. Okay, so we know that Most High. We get to have clues. Let me come on screen share for a second with this. We get to have clues. Let's look at these clues. Let's look at these clues. Oh, shoot, I wasn't even on screen share. I thought we were on screen share. Let's look at these clues. We get to have clues. When we see Most High, then we know that that does not mean God. These are clues. When we see Gabriel, we know, or Angel Gabriel, not Gabriel, Angel Gabriel, we know that that does not mean an archangel. So as we go deeper into the material we are studying, we are learning, we're understanding that we can decode these things. Okay, we can decode these things. Okay. I am so happy about that, Linda. Just love listening to you. Learned a lot from you since I love Christianity, religion. Love it, love it, love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, it was your age once when I was your age makes more sense to me than the book of Jude. Okay, Calvin says, I get it. They were abducted by UFOs. I see what transfiguration in this context means now. Yes, isn't it very interesting? Very interesting. In Islam, Gabriel, Arabic Jibril, or Gabriel, plays a central role as a transmitter of revelation to the Prophet Muhammad. That's exactly right. In the cave. That's exactly right. Passing on vital information. Gave the entire Quran to the Prophet Muhammad. The father of the gods, El, known from Ugarit, was identified with Yahweh in such a way that Yahweh was initially worshipped as the highest God, later as the only God, and in the final step of, let's see, ooh, I love this, research, development, the existence of the gods was denied. That's exactly right. And we can look in history and see exactly when these developments took place. This was not. You know, this is very interesting, Cindy. Cindy said, I think this is blasphemy. This is very interesting. It's very interesting when you, I'm not sure what your background is, Cindy. This is very interesting because when you talk history and when you talk provable facts like Yahweh, anyone can look up Yahweh, anyone can ask the AI about Yahweh at this point and find that he was a lesser god in the Canaanite pantheon and was not the God. And you can see videos all over YouTube about how Yahweh advanced to become the God of the whole universe, never was. It's very interesting that people would say it's blasphemy. So, Cindy, I just thank you for being here. And maybe you may learn something from being here. Maybe. I don't know. Something drew you here. Something drew you here. So Whisper says the wool has been pulled way over our eyes. I mean, we have been hoodwinked. Not Martin Luther King. Malcolm X was right. Bamboozled, hoodwinked. Religion has hoodwinked us for so long. Maria, is it making sense, Maria? It makes so much more sense to me when I read all these stories as Elohim stories. I'm like, okay, what was the Elohim up to this time? Tutmosis attended the same classes as Jesus. Yes. And Moses is an Egyptian name. Many people don't know that. Moses is an Egyptian name. When you say Gabriel, are you talking about Archangel Gabriel? Yes, because I usually hear people refer to him as a he, not a she. So do you mean that angel who I always thought was a he is a she? Absolutely, yes. I'm going to tell you something very interesting about the Archangel Gabriel. I always had the intuitive sense that this was a feminine presence when I was reading the Bible. Now, this was before I knew anything about the Anunnaki, the Elohim. I didn't know anything about the ancient Sumerian text. I knew nothing about the Nag Hammadi scriptures, all the things that I'm understanding now. I knew nothing about this. Every time I would read about Gabriel, the angel Gabriel in the Bible, for some reason, I felt like intuitively inside my own being, and I didn't have an explanation for it, that this was a feminine presence helping these women with children. That's what I felt inside myself. And it turns out that this great mother, also, I'm going to show you her names. Let's pull it up in my book. I'm going to let you see a portion of the book because I have it all detailed in the book. And it's quite fascinating. Let me pull up my book. Let me make sure I have the right pages for you. And I'm going to show you where in the book I give you great detail on the Archangel Gabriel, which I was elated to find out that the Archangel Gabriel was a real, true entity, an actual physical being. Now, super powerful and super smart and super advanced and super the specialist with the reproduction specialist, and she had birth mothers, surrogates. This woman was such a brilliant geneticist that she could figure out anything. Why do you think they called her the mother of the gods, mother of the kings, mother? They were calling her mother of everything. That's how profound this specialist was. Let's go on screen share. I'm going to show you my manuscript. Okay, let's go to my book. This book, do you see this? The contents right over here. If you don't have the book yet, get the book, because do you see the table of contents over here? This is I talk about cognitive dissonance too, which we just saw, cognitive dissonance. Okay. It's so far it's about 4 or 5 parts. You see it has the Ethiopian Bible, the Targums, Septuagint, Latin Vulgate, the Ketef Hinnom Silver Scrolls, Dead Sea Scrolls, Codex Sinaiticus, Codex Alexandrinus, the Anunnaki family tree. Let's go to Archangel Gabriel. Boom. Okay. Now this chapter is not finished yet. It's just a ton of my notes. Gabriel, Nin Hersog, a powerful being with great influence. Gab, a female guardian, governor or protector. Gab R in the Gannet Eden. or Eden, the governor of the Garden of Eden, or the Garden of Dilmun, or Paradise. She was called Life Woman, Gab-ur. She was called Al-Gabar by the Arabs. Al-Jabbar later became one of the names of Allah. Do you hear that? I have been to the Grand Mosque, the Great Mosque. I've been to that Grand Mosque in Abu Dhabi, and on the wall, they have the names of God, and this is one of them. Jabbar, mighty or huge, authority, power, rule, reign. Gabar became governor in French, gubernator in Latin, and governor in English, the gubernatorial race. We have that in our own language. Lady Governor of the Mountains, elevated area of the Gan Eden. There was an elevated area of the Gan Eden. She created 7 iterations before successfully coming up with Homo sapiens, that's us. She was also called Nin Lil, Nin T, Lady of the Rib. Nin means lady, and T means rib in Sumerian, and T also means to make life. She's also called Lady of Creation, Lady of Life, the Great Mother, Mountain Mother, Creatrix, Damkina, Queen of the Birthing Hut, Queen of Gods, the Akkadians called her, Ki, Ninsar, and Ninma, Mother of the Gods, Mother of Men. She suckles kings at her breasts. She was called, her son was Ninurta, and when she helped him with strategy for war, he named his mother Magnificent Queen, which also became Ninhursag. This being was way up there. And this is what I said at the end. It was a quadrinity, not a trinity. Enki was dying, and Ninhursag presses his head to her vulva and he recovers. She saved Enki's life. Okay? Genesis 2:7, this is Ninhursag in Genesis 2:7. So when I tell you that this being that we're talking about, this angel Gabriel, this angel Gabriel is so far beyond being a little angel flying around. It's so more profound than that. That's why I love this story, because this story is not saying that there's something wrong with the Bible. This story is saying that the Bible is giving us clues. The Bible is giving us information. The Bible is the capsule. It's like a time capsule. It kept information alive for hundreds of thousands of years, because Genesis reached back to old Sumerian stories. Genesis isn't original. And we found out Genesis wasn't original. And I'm very happy that Genesis is not original, because that's how the information was passed on from generation to generation to generation to generation to generation for literally hundreds of thousands of years, so we could understand our true origins. And not think, oh, you're born in original sin. Oh, you need a savior. Oh, somebody, look at this man died on the cross. And the man didn't even die on the cross. They lifted him off. Why? Because they had a powerful Elohim father. I still think the Elohim are running a lot of things on this planet. Okay? All right, let's continue on the screen share so we can come to an end before we are here for 75 years. Let's go further. Okay? It's pretty shocking. It's pretty shocking information. And family, what I'm saying is connect the dots. When you see Most High, okay, that's the L that's above the other L's. That's not God. Okay? So we already see Gabriel is here in the mix. There are no angels in the Bible. These are Elohim stories. These are Anunnaki stories. All the L beings, El Shaddai, El Elyon, El this, El that, Elohim, El is the single, Elohim is plural. These are all Anunnaki stories. Sometimes they even call the Igigi El names, even though the Igigi are not the Anunnaki. They're different races. And the Igigi were known as the lesser gods. Enoch calls them the watchers, because they were on Lamu. What is Lamu? Lamu is Mars. The Igigi had a base on Mars. And there were 300 of them, and 200 of them were coming to a wedding on the planet Earth. They didn't call us Earth, they called this planet Ki. And when they were coming from Lamu to Ki for the wedding, that's when the 200 of them made a deal and said, hey, let's get some wives because these women are beautiful. They don't look like Ijiji women. I don't know what Ijiji women look like. Apparently, the human women were so beautiful that they had to have them. And that's the story that you have in the Bible of the angels, fallen angels. Ain't no such thing. I always wondered, how did all these angels turn against God? God made all these angels, but they had the life. They were living. And when I asked all these questions in Christianity, you know, they were saying, Valerie, asking too many questions. I'm like, but the angels turned against God? Yes. Why? To go with Lucifer. Why? Was Lucifer offering a better deal? I mean, they're getting cast out of heaven. They're living in the peak, the pinnacle in heaven. And they want to go down with Lucifer? Down where? Down here with us. And now they're demons. Yes. They turned from angels to demons. The story did not add up. Maybe I had too logical of a mind to go along with them on these flights of fancy. I didn't know how an angel turned into a demon. I'm not saying demons don't exist. I'm not saying that. Absolutely, there's nefarious entities. There's all kinds of things in other dimensions. I'm saying I couldn't get with the Christian story that 1 minute you were an angel and you were with God in the heaven, and then the next minute you follow Lucifer and you turned into a demon. I can't get with that. Just me. Let's continue. Number 7. Before we completely dismiss the Bible story of a virgin giving birth, there are important factors that require our consideration in light of everything that's been discussed in this book. Okay? Gabriel. Yet, is Gabriel an angel? No. Or is Gabriel one of the Elohim? Each time Gabriel shows up, it's usually to a barren woman, or in this case, a virgin. The pronouncement is that the barren woman or virgin will give birth. We are told that Gabriel is an angel, but is Gabriel an angel? Is Gabriel a reproduction specialist? Let's go on to number 8. The Quran said Jesus didn't die on the cross. Here it is. It says, and for they're saying, indeed, we have killed the Messiah, Jesus, the son of Mary, the messenger of Allah. And they did not kill him, nor did they crucify him, but another was made to resemble him to them. Now, in some interpretations, some people say, this is not what the actual Quran says, but some interpretations of the Quran say that it was Judas Iscariot who was killed in his place on the cross. And indeed, those who differ over it are in doubt about it. They have no knowledge of it except the following of assumption. And they did not kill him, certainly not. It says certainly not in the Quran. They did not kill him on the cross. Rather, Allah raised him to himself. And ever is Allah exalted in might and wise. I could get that, Allah being one of the Elohim, raised him to himself, just like he did with Moses, just like they did with Elijah, just like they did with Enoch, Ezekiel. I can get with that. The Gospel of Nicodemus, also known as the Acts of Pilate or the Acts of Pontius Pilate. But while I was standing at prayer in the middle of the night, the house was surrounded with 4 angels. Okay, we do know these are not angels. We know that these are Elohim. And I saw Jesus as the brightness of the sun and fell down upon the earth for fear. But Jesus, laying hold on my hand, lifted me from the ground, and the dew was then sprinkled upon me. But he, wiping my face, kissed me and said unto me, fear not, Joseph, look upon me, for it is I. This is after he was dead. Then I looked upon him and said, Rabboni, Elias. He answered me, I am not Elias, but Jesus of Nazareth, whose body thou didst bury. He's now talking to Joseph of Arimathea after his death, supposedly. This is from the Gospel of Nicodemus. And when Joseph of Arimathea looks at him, he looks like Elias. Who is Elias? Elijah. I don't take the Gospel of Nicodemus to be fact. I just take it as another consideration. What are they talking about here? Gospel of Nicodemus said, and I said to him, show me the tomb in which I laid thee. Joseph said, wait a minute. I put your body in a tomb. Show me the tomb. Then Jesus taking me by the hand. This is an actual physical experience. This is not a vision, because in visions, you don't feel a person's hand. A vision is metaphysical. He said, taking me by the hand, led me into the place where I laid him and showed me the linen cloths and napkin which I put round his head. Then I knew that it was Jesus, and worshipped him and said, blessed be he who cometh in the name of the Lord. Jesus, again, taking me by the hand, led me to Arimathea, to my own house, and said to me, peace be to thee. But go not out of thy house till the 40th day, for I must go to my disciples. They never let you read the Gospel of the Hebrews. They never let you read the Gospel of Nicodemus. They never let you read the Acts of Pontius Pilate, because they told you that all those books, you don't want to pay attention to on any of those. You only want to look at this book that we're going to give you. Well, that didn't work for me. Gospel of the Hebrews, although much of this text is lost, some fragments suggest that Jesus appeared to his brother James and other followers. It is mentioned that Jesus appeared to James the Just, which is a detail also found in some early Christian writings. James the Just was Jesus' brother. Some say his twin brother, because he had the name Didymus. Didymus means twin, right? Some say that James could have been Jesus' actual twin brother. James the Just, according to Jewish lore or the stories of in the Jewish faith, James was so holy and righteous and such a good man. They killed him. They threw him off the Temple Mount, right? They knocked him off the Jerusalem temple and killed him. Actually, they say Paul attacked James and he didn't kill him, but then later on somebody bludgeoned him, and pretty horrible, but they say they changed the story. Bible scholars said they changed the story later, because in Christianity, you couldn't have Paul actually attacking James. That wouldn't look good. So they changed the story up, but that's a conversation for another day. Right now, we're talking about James the Just. And James the Just, they said that his knees were calloused because he was on his knees praying all the time. Let's talk about number 9. We're coming down to number 9 and number 10. We're coming down to the home stretch, family. Thank you for being with me. We're coming down to the home stretch. Share this with anyone that would find it fascinating. Share this with anyone who's ready to open their mind about what the Bible is really about. Share this with anyone that you know would benefit. Share this with anyone trying to claw their way out of Christianity and the story that we've been told. The story that we have been told is not so. That much we know. And even if we don't know what the story actually is or what actually is the truth, we can say that that's not. Religion, for me, everyone has their own mind to make up about this. For me, religion is an institution of control of the masses. And I am not at all discounting people's experience in religion, because a lot of people have amazing experiences in religion. I'm going to come off screen share for a second and share this with you. Me and my son were having this conversation the other day. This is a little personal anecdote about me. I grew up in Harlem, USA, New York City. And in Harlem, when I grew up in the 60s and 70s, it was very common to see the prophet, prophet Elijah, the prophet, not the Nation of Islam, and they would have the prophet Elijah Muhammad Speaks. It was a big, sort of looked like a newspaper. Anyone from New York knows what I'm talking about. You've seen this, like Muhammad Speaks, right? And what I saw of men that were in the hood that were absolute terrors go into the Nation of Islam. And when you turn around, they were wearing a suit on the street corner with a bean pie. They would come up to the car, do you want a bean pie? They would have a bean pie. They would be speaking, yes, sister. They would call you sister so-and-so, brother so-and-so. They were completely cleaned up. I saw men who were absolute hellions and terrors. And next thing you know, they went to the Nation of Islam. And we grew up with a lot of people that were 5%ers also. 5%ers weren't my thing, but some people like 5%ers. It's all up to you. The Nation of Islam in the hood turned a lot of men into absolute suit wearing, respectable men. So I cannot say that the experiences people are having in the religion are not valid, because I can't say that. I have seen transformations like you wouldn't believe. You'd be like, what? Isn't that Pookie them? You know how they say in the hood, Pookie them. Ain't that Pookie them? Pookie them in the Nation of Islam now. What? You saw Pookie. Pookie's in the Nation of Islam. Pookie had on a suit. Stop it. I wouldn't believe it unless I seen it. And next thing you know, you go down 125th Street, 135th Street, and you see Pookie on the street with the Muhammad Speaks paper and a bean pie and a suit on, being respectful. Nation of Islam did that, and the Prophet Louis Farrakhan wouldn't have people looking all crazy in the Nation of Islam. You're gonna come correct. You weren't going to have on your suit. All the New Yorkers know exactly what I'm talking about, because we all know Muhammad Speaks, the newspaper, and we all know the bean pies, and we all know the brothers with suits on. Do you know what I'm talking about? I never try and tell people what to think and believe, but Christians do. That annoys them. That's what they do. That's what they do, right? So I cannot discount the experiences people are having in these religions. We know people that came to Jesus and all of a sudden their whole life is cleaned up. Beautiful. I'm not talking about that. I think those experiences are beautiful. They're wonderful, whatever. I've had a lot of spiritual experiences in churches and in mosques and in holy houses all over the world. Those experiences are beautiful. I understand that that is an inner experience, and that is an experience that I am having in the infinite consciousness that is love within me. It's not due to the religion, but some people still think it's due to the religion. Some people still think the church did it for them, or the Nation of Islam did it for them. No, something in you did it. You wanted to do that. They were the trigger. They were the tool in the hand of the infinite intelligence to do that thing for you in that moment. And if they weren't there, the infinite intelligence would have used a bag of bread or a squirrel to get you that same information. We give too much power to churches and religions and organizations when you yourself are having this experience. This is an inner experience of ascension or devotion or evolution. And you can have that in a Catholic church. You can have it in a mosque. You can have it in a park. You can have it in bed with your lover. You can have it with your kids. You can have it seeing a baby born. You can have it on a farm, picking apples. You can have these experiences anywhere and everywhere. And indeed, I have. So let's not say that the religion is the thing that we need for people to have these experiences. No, we don't need religion for people to have these experiences, because the infinite intelligence that is you, this infinite field, this 0 point field, the all, it knows every single one of us, and it is using whatever we are in or near to give us these experiences. These are inner experiences. I just wanted to say that. Yes. All right. Malcolm X is a perfect example of how the NOI can turn one's life around. Absolutely. Whatever pathway it takes, I respect the positive outcome. Absolutely. Positive outcome is beautiful. We love the positive outcome, and we love the changes that people have. We all know people that were Jesus freaks. They become a Jesus freak, and now they don't drink. I don't drink no more. Good, Uncle Ned, because you used to be, you was the one flipping the tables over, drinking all the liquor and flipping the tables over. We know the people that, look, I grew up in the hood. I knew some table flippers, okay? Let's get back to our conversation. Some of these people, we glad they went into a church, right? They needed to do something. And they had a powerful experience, and it's beautiful. I'm just saying, we don't need religion for that. Okay? We do not need. That's right. 12-step programs help people too. There's a whole lot of things that help people. Mushrooms help people. We don't have to have a religion around magic mushrooms. You can eat some magic mushrooms, a heroic dose of magic mushrooms, like we're going to do at the winter solstice, and have an absolute mind-blowing spiritual experience. Let me give you the link to it right now so you can apply. ValerieLove.com, Miami retreat. You could take a heroic dose of mushrooms. We are doing mushrooms on the magic mushrooms. We are doing that on the winter solstice coming up. And you can have the experience that would turn your entire life around. And there was no church anywhere near. It's called mushrooms. It's called ayahuasca. Okay, we don't need Jesus for that. Now, I love Jesus just like the next person, and I'm not denigrating Jesus. I'm not denigrating the Bible, never would. I have too much respect. I honor where I came from, and I honor my forebears and my ancestors who taught me the Bible and about Jesus. That's why I'm a Christian witch, because I'm not throwing all that in the trash, because it's very valuable and useful to me. All right, let's continue. Number 9 and number 10, and then we're going to wrap up. This was a big one. Jesus. Did Jesus die on the cross? No, he did not. Okay. So we do have the questionable paternity of Jesus. We talked about 9. Questionable. Who was Jesus' daddy? No biological father, according to Christian doctrine. But now Celsus, who was a 2nd century writer, he said that Jesus and Mary, that Jesus is the child of Mary being with a Roman soldier. They had an affair, and his name was Panthera. And I've heard that whole Pantera thing before, right? Yet we don't really have historical proof of that, which it would be very hard to get historical proof because we didn't have any kind of paternity test back then. Yet there are different theories floating around about Jesus and his birth. Who was his father? Now, the Christians tell us he didn't have a father. Let me not say that. The Christians say that his father was God. Well, that's all our fathers. All of us came from the infinite source. So, okay, wonderful. Yeah, let's go further. What really happened? And if you consider that Mary was visited by the reproduction specialist, and if you consider everything that we have talked about in points 1 through 8, and now we are on 9, and if you consider that it is quite possible that one of the Elohim was Jesus' father, here's something to consider. His father speaks audibly on 3 occasions. This is my son. From where? Quote unquote heaven. When? During his baptism, his transfiguration, and the crucifixion. All 3 of these occasions, there is an audible voice from heaven. This is my son. Is this El Elyon speaking? The El that's above the other L's? Which El is this that's speaking? Because it's not God. Number 10. Here are other theories, because I am not the first person to question, did Jesus die on the cross? And to come to the conclusion, no, Jesus did not die on the cross. And for many reasons, I've come to this conclusion. Here are some other theories. Swoon theory, Jesus went unconscious and they took him off, but he wasn't dead. They laid him in the tomb, they doctored him up. They call it swoon theory, you can look it up. Substitution theory, they say that someone else was on the cross, someone that looked like him. Lost tomb theory says Jesus' body was stolen. Other people say Jesus was seen in India afterwards. Other people said Jesus was seen in France and it became one of the forebears of the Templars, right? There's endless debate about the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus on all fronts. My conclusion is that the Elohim were involved for the foregoing reasons. You let us know your conclusions in the comments. Of course, critical thinking, research, critical thinking, research. We cannot rely on the religion to tell us what happened. Resources, of course, my books, of course. And I love this book, The Spaceships of Ezekiel. Get it? It is excellent. Joseph Blumrich was awarded a NASA patent for the spaceship Ezekiel described in the book of Ezekiel. You want to get these books. These are really, really good. I use the website, Jeff A. Benner, which is the cultural and linguistic excavation of the Bible, and also Hebrew dictionary, has a Hebrew dictionary, so you can look up some of the things that we're talking about. One moment, look at my chimes. Okay, chimes, I'm coming, I'm done. Got a call coming up in a couple of minutes. When God Had a Wife, 101 Myths of the Bible. Absolutely read Mauro Bolino's The Naked Bible. And I give you the link. I gave the link, and I'll give the link again. There is a link that I have that if you would be so kind as to use my Amazon affiliate link, that would be wonderful. Take a screenshot. These are some of the ones that I recommend that you can look at online if you like looking at or reading their work if you like that kind of thing. I am going to give us the Amazon. Let me go to the Amazon link for you. And Amazon. I have an Amazon link, and the Amazon link is for Christian witches. This is the Amazon link that I want to give you. This is for the books, and I've given this list to quite a few people. Go through this list because this list will blow your mind. Okay? Okay. Here you go. Is it the Naked Bible? If you were going to pick one book off that list, make it The Naked Bible by Mauro Biglino. Make it The Naked Bible. It is shocking the level of stories we have been told that are not so. When you begin to dissect and pull apart all of the stories we have been told, it is shocking. Money in the vortex. You need, yay, money in the vortex. I don't have my bell with me, but I'm gonna get my bell. Money in the vortex. Woo, woo. Thank you so much for the super chat. I love it. Family, I've got to tell you something. Oh, I can't deal with mushrooms or the like or anything illicit. Sleepy time tea had me hallucinating ginkgo biloba and it made me stay awake for 36 hours. I'll stop there. Wow. Okay, then you need to just do something very calm and mild. I get you. You're late, but you're here. Yay, you're here. I am so thankful that you all are in this conversation. Oh my goodness, I'm so thankful that you all are in this conversation because, sometimes when I'm doing this research, I say to myself, am I crazy? Am I crazy to think these things? Sometimes I have to go through that. And then I tell myself, boom, there's another piece of evidence. Boom, there's another. And it starts to fit together. A comprehensive story does unfold that is very different from the story that they have told us in church. So I thank you for being here. If you are with us in the ritual coming up this Sunday, this Sunday is the fall equinox. So if you were with us in the fall equinox ritual, check your email because it has in there preparation that we are going to be doing before Sunday. I have a ton of candles over here for you all getting ready. I'll show you the last candle burning ritual that we did. If you are not in the candle burning ritual, hop in the candle burning ritual this Sunday with me on Zoom, and a rack of us will be in that candle burning ritual for the fall equinox. It's going to be so delicious. I love candle divination. I love it. So get your life right. And, if you feel all over the place, if you feel kind of unsettled, if you don't feel harmonized, balance within yourself, if you feel like your money is up and down, if you feel like your relationships are up and down, if you feel like your health is kind of out of whack, if you feel like you can't focus, all of these things can be addressed in this ritual. So hop into the ritual with us. It is this Sunday and it's going to be chef's kiss. In the meantime, in the between time, I love you. I love you. I love you. Oh, you did your ritual apple last night. So did I. You did your ritual. So did I. So did I, Miss J. So did I. It was so good. Oh, it was so good. And I found a good spot to bury it too, out in nature. Oh, it was good, baby. Do it. If you don't know what we're talking about, go to the video that I just did yesterday. That is the full moon ritual. I love you. I'll see you next Wednesday. Peace, Casey out. Love you.